Hi, how are you? My name is Gisele. I am Brazilian and I don't date Brazilian men. I am 34 years old, almost 35 right now. And in this video, I'm going to explain all the reasons why I don't date Brazilian men. I think I have enough experience to give here my reasons why I don't date them. And I'm only making this video because sometimes I make comments like this to my friends, fans, and here in my videos. And people are like, why you don't date Brazilian men? I thought Brazilian men were awesome. I thought all women wanted them because they look hot, they are well hung, things like that. And honestly, if I was going to tell you all the reasons why I don't like Brazilian men, this video would have like 3 hours long, and we don't want that. We just want like a short version, and this is what I'm gonna do right now. And just reminding you that I'm gonna bring here facts about Brazilian men and the Brazilian population in general. The reason why I don't date Brazilian men is that I do not agree by these facts, I do not like these facts, and I don't like the culture. Levels of education is the first thing and the most important in my opinion. Did you know that 29% of Brazilians are illiterate? They can even like read and write and copy texts, but they can't really comprehend what they are reading. And as a society, you have to understand the impact that this has, not only on a daily basis, but also in politics. This is why Brazil has such high levels of corruption, for example, such high levels of criminality. Things never change here in Brazil because our levels of education are very, very low. It is very, very bad. And when you think that almost 30% of the population do not know how to read and write properly, that's a lot. But this extends to the rest of the population as well. So, for example, examples that happened this week. I was reading a report from the veterinarian that did a procedure on my cat, and she committed lots of mistakes in her native language, that is Portuguese, that she shouldn't be doing because it's like basic level language, you know? Even though she is a good veterinarian, went to college, probably spent 5 years in college, she still does not know how to write properly. And that's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. Even I make mistakes as well. But I also think that you at least have to dominate your native language. Oh, just reminding you that everything that I'm saying here are based in facts, okay? So I'm putting the references here in the description of the video. 18% of Brazilians have a college degree, and 4.3% of Brazilians have a master's degree or postgrad. Now, I want you to think about the veterinarian again. Yeah, she has a master's degree. She's in the top 4% of people that study it the most here in Brazil. And she still makes basic mistakes. So even the highest levels of education here in Brazil, they are still not like in a level that I would consider acceptable. And education and knowing how to read and write and express properly is a very big thing for me. I cannot feel attracted by a guy that does not know how to write properly, that does not know how to speak and express himself properly. And it's not just that. If you don't know the basic of your own language, your culture is going to be poor. You know, how are you going to be deep in something that is very serious about politics, about food, about hobbies, if you don't know the basic of your own language? Do you know what I mean? This is something that turns me off a lot. And think again about the veterinarian, top 4%. So what do you think that I encounter here is not good, is not good outside? I, myself, I just want to compare here. I don't want to brag or anything. I have 2 master's degree. I speak English fluently. I speak 5 languages, actually. And when you think about Brazilians, only 4% of Brazilians speak English, and it's not even fluently. Only 1% of Brazilians can speak English fluently. I consider my English fluent because I can communicate and I can understand people in English. I know that my English is not perfect, and I know that I make lots of mistakes. But here's the thing, English is not my first language. In my first language, that is Portuguese, that I learned since birth, basically, I have to dominate this language. English I started learning like with 8, 9, 10 years old. So yeah, of course I'm never going to be like a native level of fluency. Fluency, I think that's it. And that's okay. Also do not expect a Canadian to come here to Brazil and speak, talk, and write fluently like a Brazilian. But if you are Brazilian, I mean, you have to. It's basic. Sorry, it's basic. I cannot feel attracted by a man that does not know how to read and write. Sorry. Now we are going to talk about a very light subject. Religion. Brazilians are very intolerant when it comes to religion. 80% of Brazilians are Christians, and only 1% of Brazilians are declared atheists. Why? Why you can declare that you are atheist here in Brazil? Because there's a lot of pressure upon the atheists, and there's a lot of judgment, and there's a lot of societal problems if you declare yourself as atheist. You're gonna lose friends. Probably your family is going to make your life hell. If you say that you're atheist at your job, you are going to have bad repercussions from that. Even if the company has a very nice HR, your colleagues that are Christians, they are going to start hating you in some level and start not helping you, things like that. So you cannot declare that you are atheist here in Brazil. And for a person without a religion like me, I've been through many situations with people here in Brazil where when I declared that I don't have a religion, people got personally offended. Like by me saying that I don't have a religion, I was directly affecting them and judging them for believing in God and for having a religion, when I only stated that I don't have a religion and I don't follow any religion whatsoever. So yeah, I've had men here in Brazil, most men actually, that when I declared myself non-religious, they try to have a discussion with me about what religion is, what do I believe, try to take me to church with them, got mad at me because it was like a personal attack to them. Like if I don't believe what they believe, I am calling them liars or something like that. This is how the Brazilian mind normally works. I don't want to be with a guy that is going to be personally offended when I tell him that I don't have a religion. Even if this topic is like not a topic that I necessarily have to bring during a hookup, do I want to be with a guy that thinks like that? No, I don't want to. Am I telling you that all Brazilians are like that? No, of course not. But do you see how difficult it is to find someone? Now we are going to talk about family. And most of you are going to disagree with me and say this is a nice thing, but I have a very European way of thinking, and I think this is very, very bad, actually. Brazilians are too attached to their families, and this is a bad thing, in my opinion. Brazilians can live with their parents until they are 30, 35 years old, and this is completely normal. I even remember my ex-husband when we got divorced. He was already, I think, 35 or something like that, and he went back to his parents' house. Like, it was straight. It was not like, okay, I'm a grown man and I need a space of my own to like recover from this difficult time of my life. No, he went straight back to his parents' house because he was like, no, I need to stay with my parents. This is like something extremely, I cannot understand this culture because I live by myself since I'm 18 years old. I am independent since I'm 18 years old. Parents keep calling the kids, even when they are like 35 years old, to see how they are doing. And this is like mind-blowing to me. I mean, you as a parent, you should prepare your kid for the adult life. But here, what parents do in Brazil is that they make their kids insecure and dependent on them. Adult people here are incapable of making their own decisions because they were not raised properly when they were kids, because of this family attachment. Because when they were kids, they were not like independent. They were not raised to be independent. And this creates much more problems that you guys can ever imagine. So, for example, why do you guys think that Brazilian women, they are so insecure, they are so jealous? Because of this family attachment. We Brazilians are raised to be insecure, to always depend on someone, you know? And this is not a good thing. I am independent physically, emotionally, financially since I'm 18 years old. I cannot feel attracted by a guy that he's 30 years old and he still calls his mom every time he has a problem. You know, this is, sorry, totally anti-sexual. Now we are going to talk about the overall culture here in Brazil. Brazilian men are in general insecure, jealous, violent, overly emotional. And this is not something that I think it is nice for me. Also, Brazilian men are often cheaters and they are very sexist as well. All of this is linked to what I said before. People here in Brazil are raised to be insecure, to depend on someone. We are not raised as individuals based on the individuality, you know? So this leads to lots of problems. And this is why I don't like the Brazilian culture a lot. And none of this is xenophobic because I was born here. Okay, I'm Brazilian. I lived here most of my life. And I'm talking about facts. I see what's happening around me. I see my friends. I dated Brazilians before. And I see what my female friends suffer with their boyfriends and with their dates. Domestic violence here in Brazil is completely normalized. You wouldn't believe, okay, I'm gonna tell some stories. I have a friend, she lives here close to me, and she keeps dating this guy that beats her up. Every party that they go together, he finds a reason to fight with her and tell she's a whore. There was one day that she went to the bathroom with me, like two girls going to the bathroom. And when she was in the bathroom, she was like, oh, he's going to be mad at me because he's going to say that we are kissing here and we are hooking up inside the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm not even bisexual. Why would I do that? Like, you know? When she got back, like 5 minutes later, what kind of hookup is this? Like 5 minutes? Okay. Yeah, he started fighting with her, telling her she was a whore, she was a slut. And this was like months ago. Every party I go, they are together, they are kissing. She showed me bruises. And what can I do? Like, the guy beats you up and you don't want to leave the guy. I mean, we're not talking about the women here. We're talking about the men. This is just one example. There are many other examples. And I don't talk to this guy, okay? Let's be clear. I don't talk to him. This is lipstick, okay? Every time I see him, I ignore him. But this is so fucking normalized. Here in Brazil, domestic violence is so fucking normalized that everyone talks to him normally, like he's a normal person. Because it's normal. Like, these things are normal here in Brazil. And I think it is so absurd that you know that the guy is beats women for pleasure, I don't know, and you still talks to him, you still hang out with him. What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, I do my part. I don't even look at his direction. But it is absurd how normalized this is here in Brazil. Talking about cheating, I was cheated by all my Brazilian boyfriends that I've ever had in my life. So cheating is normal here. Cheating is normalized, and the cheating has a lot to do with, again, the insecurity, the lack of trust that they feel in themselves. I go through so many situations where the guy says, oh, I'm married, I am here hitting from my wife. She does not know that I am outside the house. Anyways, do you want to hook up with me? And I'm like, no. Brazilian men are also overly emotional. So there are two extremes, of course. The guys that don't talk about emotions, at all, but they are overly emotional, and guys that are overly emotional and talk about emotions a lot. And even though, yeah, great for you, I really think that you need to put your emotions in place. When you combine being insecure and overly emotional, these two things are not sexy together, okay? And men also are sexist here in Brazil, so they do not go to therapy or anything like that to organize their emotions and put everything in place, you know? And what happens is that you have overly emotional guys that, or often they will cry and beg for you to stay, or if they are overly emotional, they are going to show this emotion by being violent or being controlling. This is so common here in Brazil that if I started giving examples, we would be here until tomorrow. Another thing that I hate about Brazil is the football culture. So remember when I said that 30% of Brazilians are illiterate, but if you ask 95% of Brazilian men, what are the names of all the football players of Flamengo soccer club or football club? They will know. Or Corinthians, I don't know. There are the two main clubs here in Brazil. They will know. So they don't know how to read and write properly, but they know everything that is happening in the football games. That's, in my opinion, so bad. This is something that I literally cannot understand. I understand you having a hobby. I understand this being a national passion. I understand all of that. But if you do not know how to spell wood, this is a real problem here in Brazil. People do not know how to spell wood in Portuguese, okay? But you know all the names of all the players. You know what happened in the last 5 games, and you get in discussions with other people at your workplace, on the street, your friends, WhatsApp groups, about how the games went, how the matches, football matches went. Sorry, I think this is a problem. Yeah, I think it is a problem, and I don't like it. I think you're lazy, because if you have time to do all of that, like study all of that about soccer, watch the games, know the names, you could like learn how to spell wood properly. It's just like priorities, like soccer, football, or maybe comprehend a text that you are reading. I think the priority should be like read a text and comprehend what you're reading. But no, Brazilian men prefer to know all the names of the football players. And sorry, that for me is disgusting. It's like, why would I be with a guy like that? No, thank you. And last but not least, I think one of the most important things, but just putting together everything that I said until now, Brazil have very high levels of corruption and criminality. Because of all of that I told you, like all these factors that I told you lead to this, because people are poor, people do not have high levels of education, and people are not interested in learning other languages. So yeah, of course we are stuck in this cycle of being poor and staying poor, you know? Criminality is so normalized here. So fucking normalized. And corruption is even more normalized. The proof for that is that all the candidates that were up for the presidency last election, they are extremely corrupt, and people cheer for them like a football team. People really defend these people. People not only vote for these corrupt politicians, people defend them and people cheer for them. And this is something that, sorry, I cannot. I would not, I would never be interested, attracted to a man that has any of these characteristics. Let's just remember the veterinarian again. She's on top 4% of levels of education. Even she can't spell basic things correctly. Then we have politics. Then we have the self-esteem things and insecure. Then we have family. Then we have criminality and corruption. Then we have religion. All in this like top 4%. Probably there is a Brazilian out there that wouldn't like be in any of these categories. He's smart, he's not insecure, he's not super attached to his family. He thinks that the criminality and the corruption are very, very bad. He respects the other people's religions. I'm not saying that he needs to be an atheist, but he respects other people. He does not like football. He's really interested in getting better and learn other languages, you know? So this is like 0.005%. Yeah, probably there will be a Brazilian one day that I'm gonna find. There are more than 200 million Brazilians. So yeah, probably there is someone out there. But why am I going to focus my efforts in finding this 0.000 when I can easily focus my efforts in foreigners from other countries that do not have any of these characteristics in such an intense form, you know? Yeah, that's why I don't date Brazilians. And just reminding you that this is a very shortened version of why I don't date Brazilians. Of course, there's more to it, but I had to explain this in a short video for you, and that's it. This was my video. Bye-bye.